May I ask you some questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Uh, what's your name, please?
My name is Tu.
Are you a student?
Yes, I am. I'm a first year student and I'm studying economy finance.
Where do you come from?
I come from Ninh province.
So you come from Ninh province, don't you?
That's right.
What time do you usually get up?
I usually get up at 6 o'clock.
Uh, what do you usually do after getting up?
I usually have breakfast. I usually have breakfast after getting up.
How long does it take you to have breakfast?
It takes, uh, it takes me about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
So it takes you about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having breakfast?
I usually do the homework from my school. I usually do the homework from my school after having breakfast.
Uh, how long does it take you to do the homework from your school?
It takes me it takes me about 2 hours to do the homework from my school.
So it takes you to do. So it takes you 2 hours to do the homework from your school.
That's right.
Uh, what you usually do after doing the homework from your school?
I usually have lunch after doing the homework from my school.
What time do you usually have lunch?
I usually have I usually have lunch at 10 o'clock.
So you usually have lunch at 10 o'clock.
That's right.
Uh, what do you usually do after have lunch?
Pardon?
What do you usually do after have lunch?
Pardon?
What do you usually do after have lunch?
I usually go to school after having lunch.
Uh, what time do you usually go to school?
I usually go to school at 12 o'clock.
So you usually go to school at 12 o'clock.
That's right.
Uh, what do you usually do after going to school?
I usually come back home. I usually come back home after going to school.
What time do you usually come back home?
I usually come back home at 5 o'clock.
What time do you what do you usually do after coming back home?
I usually play sports after coming back home.
What time do you usually play sports?
I usually play sports at 6 o'clock.
So do you usually play sports at 6 o'clock?
That's right.
What do you usually do after playing sports?
I usually have dinner after playing sports.
Um, what time do you usually have dinner?
I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
So you usually so you usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having dinner?
Pardon?
What do you usually do after having dinner?
I usually do the homework from my English class after having dinner.
How long does it take you to do the homework from your English class?
It takes me about 1 o'clock. It takes me about It takes me 1 hour to do the homework from my English class.
So it takes you 2 hours to do the homework from your English class.
That's right.
What do you usually do after doing the homework from your English class?
I usually go to bed after doing the homework from my English class.
What time do you usually go to bed?
I usually go to bed at 11 o'clock.
So do you usually go to bed at 11 o'clock?
That's right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. How about you? What's your name, please?
My name is Nam.
Are you a student?
Yes, yes, I am. I'm a first year student and I'm studying at the Academy of Finance.
Where you come from?
I come from Vĩnh province.
Pardon?
I come from Vĩnh province.
So you come from Nam+Tú province, don't you?
That's right.
May I ask you some questions?
Uh, sure, go ahead.
What time do you usually get up?
I usually get up at 9 o'clock.
What do you usually do after getting up?
I usually have breakfast after getting up.
How long does it take you to have breakfast?
It's take me about 20, it's take me about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
So it takes you about 15 minutes to have breakfast.
That's right.
What do you usually do? What do you usually do after having breakfast?
I usually having breakfast at
Pardon?
sorry. I usually have I usually cook lunch after having breakfast.
What time do you usually cook lunch?
I usually cook lunch at 10 o'clock.
So you usually cook lunch at 10 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do? What do you usually do after cooking lunch?
I usually have lunch after cooking lunch.
What time do you usually have lunch?
I usually have lunch at 11 o'clock.
So you usually have lunch at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having lunch?
I usually go to school after having lunch.
What do you usually go to school? What time do you usually go to school?
I usually go to school at 12:30.
So you usually go to school at 12:30.
That's right.
What do you usually do? What do you usually do after going to school?
I usually come back home after going to school.
What time do you usually come back home?
I usually come back home at 5:30.
So you usually come back home at 5:30.
That's right.
What do you usually do after coming back home?
I usually play sports after coming back home.
What time do you usually play sports?
I usually play sports at 6 o'clock.
Pardon?
I usually play sports at 6 o'clock.
So you usually play sports at 6 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually play sport? What do you usually do after playing sports?
I usually have dinner after playing sports.
What time do you usually have dinner?
I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
So you usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do after having dinner?
I usually do the homework from my English class after having dinner.
How long does it take you to do the homework from your English class?
It's taking me about 2 hours to do the homework from my English class.
Pardon?
It takes me about 2 hours to do the homework from my English class.
So it takes you about 2 hours to do the homework from your English class.
That's right.
What do you usually do after doing the homework from my What do you usually do after doing the homework from your English class?
I usually surf the internet after doing the homework from my English class.
What time do you usually surf the internet?
I usually surf the internet at 9 o'clock.
So you usually surf the internet at 9 o'clock.
That's right.
What do you usually do after surfing the internet?
I usually go to bed after surfing the internet.
What time do you usually go to bed?
I usually go to bed at 11 o'clock.
So you usually go to bed at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, see you later.
See you later.
Ta ta.
Ta ta.